All right, so I just want to remind everybody that all Township Council meetings will be audio and video taped and shown on our Verizon Fios Channel 77 on Cablevision. Roll call, please.
Mayor Napolitani?
Here.
Councilmember Char?
Here.
Fisher?
Here. I want to apologize in advance for coughing.
Really?
Yeah. It was good all day today. I just
Roll call. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied, and a copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster, posted in Town Hall, and was filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 8th, 2022. We're going to start off with Greg, our engineer, to go over various township projects. Greg?
Okay, I'm just going to go over the changes and just to keep it brief.
Yep.
The first thing is, last time we talked about I was going to meet with the county engineer's office to look at the dredging of Terrace Pond. We did that. The next step is I'm going to prepare a phasing plan. We'll meet with them again to talk about how we're going to facilitate that and where the money's going to come from. So that'll probably happen in the next 2 weeks. Okay. Next thing was the crosswalk on Sunset and Maple. I don't know if the council ever fully decided we want to put that there. That's what everybody's kind of saying they wanted that crosswalk there. But and the second part of this is we just closed that crosswalk across the dam to the public across Chestnut because of safety reasons. So I don't know if you still want to put that crosswalk on Sunset at Chestnut.
Greg, what would let me just on that walk, that crosswalk that we just closed off, what would it take to get that up to snuff? Is it relatively difficult project?
No, the problem is that there's a concrete spillway there.
Mhm.
And when there's no rain, it's easy to cross.
Right.
And the problem is that you get a little bit of moss growing on there, it gets a little slippery.
Right.
The problem I have with it is we're getting these flash rains in the storm, and we get 1.5 feet of water going across that spillway. And if you get a little kid going across there, he's gonna get washed either into the fence or into the lake and possibly drown.
Okay.
It's really too dangerous, that's why we closed it.
Right.
To fix the problem, we'd have to put a raised crosswalk across that.
Right.
I would probably wait and recommend that we wait to do that until we fix the spillway, because the spillway is in need of repair, and no sense of putting this raised crosswalk in, because we just have to take it back out. But that was something that was gonna be on our list after we got done with the other 3 ponds,
Okay.
which hopefully we will be done with at the end of the year, and that would be next on our list, because we wanted to dredge Lollipop Pond next,
Right.
after the 3 little ones. And this is beyond the Colonial Terrace. We missed the beginning of my thing with Colonial Terrace. I talked about the
Right.
phasing plan, which is the next. Once we
Okay.
get that, we're gonna meet with everybody and
Sounds good.
confirm the limits.
And we'll set up a meeting next week. I talked to Laura
Okay.
McBride, right, at some point.
Yeah, whenever you can do that, yeah,
Okay.
okay, just let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, that's the only reason I would wait to hesitate to put that crosswalk across, because I really wanna get that pond dredged, because that pond is only about 6 inches deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we gotta get that mucked out of there, and then we'd have to change the spillway, because it's gonna be weakened, and then we'll put the crosswalk across.
So do you have like an approximate time frame for repairing or dredging? Is that maybe like next fall, kind of, possibly?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
It just really comes down to the same thing, and we're gonna go through the testing and where we're gonna put it, and if we get the county involved. Access there is gonna be a little bigger of a problem, because we're gonna have to take some trees down to get in there. It's not an easy access, but I think it's a project that needs to be done. So it's in pretty bad shape.
Okay.
Okay, I wasn't gonna talk about this one, another one, but now Margie's here, I'll talk about it. No. The ordinance for the, I don't know, were you gonna do
Stormwater.
the ordinance for the
Wait, I'm
coverage?
sorry, can we go back to the crosswalk? Did we finish it?
It can't be done until the,
Well, that was on Chestnut, so are we saying we don't want to put it on Maple until the thing is fixed and then put the crosswalk on
No.
Chestnut, or?
No, I would put it at Maple, because the crosswalk
Right.
is still at Maple, there's a walkway there.
Right,
But I didn't know if the council was in full agreement you want to put it there. Because we kind of talked about it, but we didn't really, everybody didn't say, yeah, let's do it.
I'm yielding, me personally, I'm yielding to you. I don't-
Okay.
so you're
that's
thinking
me.
like now that we can't,
No, I
people aren't crossing
agree with
over
you.
there, it should be
Yield
at
to the
Maple?
professional.
Yeah, I would say, yeah,
'cause
too.
there's already a raised crosswalk there, a platform,
Okay.
and that will always be there, it's not a problem.
Okay.
And that gets the crosswalk across Sunset mid-block.
Right,
All right, so I'll put it in one
Okay.
of the road programs.
Thank you.
Okay. Next thing, just to tell you, the 2020 road program, we're closing that out, that's done. The 2021 road program, we're closing it out, that's done. The, already talked about closing Chestnut. The next thing we're working on, we just met with the chief.
Wait, hold on, did you skip over we're gonna talk about the stormwater?
I already did know.
Oh.
The ordinance I just didn't know who was gonna do the ordinance for the coverage, the 40% coverage.
I was going to do it, I didn't know what zones we were. I think I had a call into Ron, just whether or not we're doing all residential zones, all whatever zones.
Yeah. All right, I'll talk to you about that maybe next couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go over that.
Okay.
We're looking at
That's all I
putting,
was.
adding security in the buildings,
Mhm.
in the municipal building and the human resources building, at the entrances.
Security, you said? Sorry.
Security walls, with security system to get in, and bullet resistant, all that good stuff, for safety reasons. And like anything else, why wait till it happens? So that's what we're kind of in the process of that. We're gonna do a quick plan and a cost estimate. We get that, then we'll be back to how we're gonna move forward on that.
We got grants for that?
Well, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for monies for that. The chief's looking for it. He thinks there's some money available for that.
And that would be all buildings?
No, just the municipal building and human services.
Okay.
That's really the only place the public is truly invited into.
Okay, cool.
How about the library?
I was gonna say that, and it's county. It was on the tip of my tongue, but the county. Isn't it?
Facility.
Doesn't it count?
County facility.
Yeah.
Is it
I
an
think it's in
actual
Ocean
county
Township, I
facility?
think, yeah. I'm pretty sure they,
The facility is ours. I
It's our
believe,
facility.
but they operate it though.
yeah.
I wonder if we can talk to them about, yeah, really, no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
They,
All right, I'll ask them.
yeah, do they, what do their other libraries have? Do they have some sort of security?
I don't know.
I haven't been to a library.
Yeah,
Here's
Wikipedia,
my library.
that's me. Yeah. Wikipedia.
Okay, last thing on my agenda, I just kind of wanted to inform you that normally at the road programs, the way we fashion the road program is we try to do enough roads that the road surface only lasts 25 years, so there's enough road miles have to be done each year to make that 25 years happen. And right now, we're at a 62-year pace. So we're way deficient in the amount of money that we're putting into the road program to cover this. And it's been deficient probably for the last 5 or 6 years, that's where we're falling behind. So I'm just kind of throwing it out there for you because it's, every year it seems like the money's going down because it's being invested in other things.
So,
And
Greg-
it's gonna be a problem for you eventually, because people are complaining a lot to me now about it.
What
Things aren't
would,
getting done.
Yeah.
what would it take to get us back on track so that we're at what we said we originally were, which is a 25-year road program? What do we need additional in our funding so that we can catch up here? Because that's 62, that's totally unacceptable. I know it's not your fault, but
Yeah.
as the governing body here, it's gonna come back on us down the line.
About 14 years ago, the funding used to be, I was getting like $3 million a year aside from Transportation Trust Fund money for the road programs. Now, with the costs have doubled, and I'm only getting 2.1.
Okay.
So I've lost a third of the funding. So I think we're not gonna catch up in a year or two. But I think if we get it up to at least 3 million, not including the Transportation Trust Fund money, and we usually get about 300 to 400,000 a year from the state. Without that money, I think we can probably slowly catch up in the next 5 to 6 years.
So we would need an additional,
$1 million to $1.25 million.
and you're saying approximately 5 to 6 years?
Yeah, I'd have to look at it, because it's a function of how many roads I can get done with that extra money and do the math.
Yeah, that's
We
a,
could certainly get as close, much closer over a 5-year period. Chunking it out pretty good.
that's about 2% of the total budget, roughly, an additional mill. That's a big number, so we have to come up with a way to either fund that or come up with a different revenue source. And we don't have a beach utility, we don't have a parking utility, we have really no added revenue streams coming in. Potential on our, up in Sunset Avenue for the manufacture and grow facility for cannabis, but I think that we really have to have a discussion on retail, because that's gonna be almost instantaneous money that comes in. numbers I'm hearing that Eatontown's getting are roughly 60,000 a month in tax revenue alone. Got an article the other day, one of the towns completely miscalculated, said they were gonna get 450,000, they wound up getting 900. So I think I implore the council here, the 5 of us, to come up with ways that we can potentially come up with an additional revenue stream. I gave you mine, but by September, I think we need to hear some ideas, because I'm not good with 62 years of a road program, and nobody at this table, guarantee, is good with that. So if we could come up with some ideas by next month and spitball them out and discuss it at the workshop, I think that's what we're gonna have to do. That's really scary.
Yeah, right now, it's not so bad because the roads are starting to deteriorate, but as we continue to fall behind, some of them are gonna get into the sub-base, and it gets 3 times as expensive to fix roads.
We chatted about that at one of the meetings, Greg. So what happens when that base, when it gets so bad, what happens? Like,
Well, there's a top course, which
Right.
is like 2 inches, and then there's a sub-base, which is 4 inches.
okay,
And right now, every time we do a road, it's the top 2 inches that is replaced. And usually, most of that is not fractured, it's just starting to wear and starting to fracture. But right now, you ride some of the roads, you can see we're through potholes through the surface course, and it's starting to get into the sub-base. Once we get into sub-base and we gotta start milling 4 to 6 inches out,
that increases
there's
the
multiple.
cost because of the milling
Right, and the cost of putting.
and the
it
cost to
in.
put it back.
Yeah, you know, it's instead of 2 times, it's 4 times to do the paving. And the 2 most expensive things to do on a road is the concrete and the paving, the curbing and the paving. Paving's, they're about equal.
Speaking of concrete, we have to have that meeting over in that section of Wanamassa too. That we never set
Yes,
that
the
meeting up.
concrete road, yeah.
Yeah, we have to discuss that too. We'll set that. All right, thank you. What else after?
That's all I got
That's it?
tonight, yeah.
Let's go around table. Rob.
Hold, please.
You want me to go?
Go ahead, Dave.
All right. I wanted to talk to you about the exit ramp on Route 18 that dumps out onto Deal Road. It is horrendous, and it's been horrendous for a long time. I think it's definitely a state problem, but it's a line of sight thing too. I think somehow we need one of those flashers or maybe 2 stop signs, because I think what's happening, people come plowing down that road, normal traffic is coming down Deal Road, and then there's this constant chain reaction accident. I mean, it's an all the time thing, obviously exacerbated in the summertime, but I really think the state's got to do something, even if they got to cut down some of the vegetation so that people can see, but it's a horrendous.
Well, the true problem you have though is the looking to the left, back over the bridge, you can't see at the
Can't see
angle.
it.
Yeah.
So it's impossible, and then you got people, if they're speeding coming across the bridge, it's a disaster, because then that person, and that's really the problem we're having there. The person in the front who looks back, doesn't see anybody, continues to look as they start to take off, they see somebody flying over the bridge, they jam on the brakes.
Yeah.
And the guy behind him sees them moving, and then you get a 2 or 3 car
Sure.
pile up in the rear end.
I'm just wondering if maybe we could put up some kind of warning for those people coming off at 18. I know it's a state thing, but maybe just say, hey, dangerous intersection, beware, traffic is coming from the left. I think it's been going on for too long, and I think it's not getting better, it's getting worse.
Yeah, and I think the state would just come back to us and tell us, well, there's a stop sign there. If they paid the stop sign, it wouldn't be a problem. But I want to go, I'm going to write them a letter on this behalf, and I'm going to tell them it's beyond a stop sign, because it's a sight distance problem.
Yeah.
You cannot look back at that angle when you're at that stop sign.
Sure.
So they have to do something, and I would recommend they almost put another lane in.
Yeah.
They come and they put a de-acceleration lane all the way down to the light, and you can merge at the light.
Anything would be better than what's going on.
And that property there that's on the edge, that's ours or the DOT?
Well, they own a good portion of it up through the width of 18 right away.
Right.
And then the last piece, I think, is part of the condo association, but I don't think they would have a problem letting us.
Well, that's already part of the West Park widening project, right?
Well,
Part of it, part of it.
No, this is Deal
Wait,
Road.
Deal Road.
This
No,
is
there's
real-
no condo
I'm talking Deal
association.
Road.
Deal Road.
This is Deal Road going east, so.
It's when you come off the hairpin.
Kind of
I'm
where the
sorry,
fire
go
department is.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
We're near Roller Road.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
think we do
thought it
own
was the
that
other way.
property.
We do.
That's-
I mean, you put an extra lane in there, that solves everybody's problem, and I think there's land to do it there. I know the town mows some of that land.
The only negative to it is the elevation change.
Yeah.
Because there's quite an elevation change at the ramp. As you move further east, it becomes no problem. But the ramp there would be very costly for them to widen the first probably 30 feet of that.
Yeah.
It'd be a retaining wall, but it's doable, and it would solve the problem.
Well, I mean, I think we gotta do something, because right now it's just another one of those Ocean Township problems that doesn't ever seem to get better. So,
It's
Right,
not
we can
gonna
add that
change.
to the DOT.
Yeah, well, that's part of the conversation with
Add that
DOT.
to the list.
And then I saw that we've got in the budget tonight, the crosswalk over there by Cold Indian Springs. Not Cold Indian, where Cold Indian Springs and Deal hit, I think it's in the budget tonight, we're
The light.
voting on that.
The flasher.
The flash,
Flashing stop.
Flasher.
not stoplight. I don't think it's a stoplight.
Not a stoplight, it's a flasher.
Flash.
It's a pedestrian
For warning.
Oh,
flasher.
yeah, okay.
Because, you know, and that, and once again, we're getting phone calls on all these things, so hopefully this will alleviate some of our issues. I still think it's a dangerous spot though. So, that's all I've got. Go ahead, Rob.
While we're on crosswalks, any update on the county doing the study at South Lincoln and Monmouth?
I haven't heard from him, but I wrote him an email this morning knowing you were gonna ask me that question.
Good man, good man. Any updates on the light, the single, it's not a light, Deal Poplar and Roller from our friends that are building the firehouse?
I asked Maurice, who's kind of in charge of that, but he told me that the school is actually the lead. He's gone to them to ask them to put the signal up first, with the left turn signals. It's gonna be there.
Right,
It's
we
just
know.
a matter of timing.
Right.
I asked him to put it in first instead of last, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Beautiful, thank you, sir. Bridge on Monmouth? On Whale Pond? Wait for the crosswalk. I know I phrase this wrong every time. The crosswalk on Monmouth over the creek?
Or the what?
He said the
Oh,
crick.
great.
There's no cricks in New Jersey, Rob.
That was.
That was intentional.
You mean,
You mean Wales, you mean Whale Pond, I believe.
oh, the
Yeah, well-
actual sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because there's another bridge thing, that's why I was confused. but-
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's in with the DEP right now, we're going back and forth.
That's still
They came back
DEP,
with
very
some
good.
comments, yeah.
That's cool. Ocean Blade, well, that we can pass on, CV, sir. Striping,
That's going out to bid probably in the next 2 weeks.
1515 Logan.
Still waiting for the DEP.
How long do you think that's gonna take?
We talked to them last week, 2 weeks ago now.
Excuse
and,
me.
You know, they've told us it's bubbling up to the top, but it's still gonna be a while. And she's being very honest with us. It took us, with the last permit we got from them, took us, you know, that was the bridge we're talking about, took an extra, like 3-4 months longer than we thought it should. And we already had a previous approval, so we just moved it a little bit.
So we're a few months off from that.
I'm hoping it's not that long.
Okay.
Hopefully it's in the next 2 weeks or so.
All right,
But we do ask them on a monthly basis to where we are on this queuing cycle.
okay.
I believe I'm good. Thank you, Mayor.
I have
Thank
one
you,
more.
Greg. Oh, good, that means I get to go back.
No, we got Deputy Mayor over there.
Go ahead, Marge.
I
dock.
think we talked about that point, Bonamassa Point Road, that's a one-way, that somebody had asked about a speed bump. We talked about maybe like a sign or something like that, reinforcing,
Yeah, just have a one-way thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem, we've got to look at that, but I think most of the problem is the residents themselves use that road both directions.
Oh, I heard the delivery people do.
Well, that too, but I
Yeah,
think
they
it's,
might not know.
when you go in there any given time, people are driving all different directions. But
Okay.
yeah,
So
we can look
resident
at that and just
enforcement,
put,
yeah.
one-way signs and
Yeah.
add that in there for them if they want.
All right.
We can try.
I was a
Or-
resident of that area asking about it, so.
Yeah. Actually, probably what I'd do, I'd like to talk to them first, because there's
Oh,
a pretty,
okay. I'll
pretty
give you their
unique group of
contact.
people over there.
Yes.
Because they're left, right sides, a lot of things, and
That's true.
some are in agreement, some aren't.
Okay,
I mean, even when we tried to pave that street over there, some were okay with it, most were not.
right, right,
And then some of the other things with patching, some were okay with it,
Yeah.
some most were not.
yeah. Does that
So-
tie into your other discussion about the
A
cement
little
there?
bit, but
Okay.
that's more of a road program
A road.
surface type of a thing, you know,
Mhm.
because they're saying, why aren't you doing our road? And because it's too
Cement.
expensive.
Mhm.
Yeah, they wanna have the cement replaced with cement, and it's really impossible
Mm.
almost.
Cost prohibitive. It's really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
And we have to have a discussion with them to go over, what they could potentially do there in that area. But, that road's in bad shape.
Totally.
Yeah, it's in very bad shape.
How
Yeah.
about cobblestone? No, I'm just kidding.
Probably was cobblestone.
Yeah,
Probably
but
was.
if you could each send me the contact,
Yes, I
I'll
will.
talk to that person and try
That'd be
to
great.
get some information out of all of them.
Yeah.
Doc, anything else?
That's it.
No?
I just have one more question. So what's going on with the firehouse? It seems to be stalled over there. Is it a,
Yeah, the design of the detention basin was a little screwed up. The guy who designed it was different than the guy that was building it, and he had a different plan somehow, so they built it wrong.
okay.
So they had to rip it all apart, and now the new design came in, and the guy, it's coming to the point where they're going to be back on track again. Because he just, they were missing the liner they were supposed to have in,
Mhm.
so we went back and forth with them, we sent them their comments that they were supposed to have in the new design, and they did it. We're hoping to get that straightened out tomorrow, and they should be back on work on Monday.
Good, because it just looks like an abandoned,
Yeah.
quarry right now.
Yeah.
And runoff and
Yeah,
angry
but
people.
We kind of got after Maurice a little because the guy who was a job super was never on the site.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult to deal with the contractors there, but we got that all worked out about 2 weeks ago.
All right.
So it's coming around.
All right. Rob, you had something else?
I'm going to send you an email, but people are asking how we can improve crossing Deal Road because of the speed. Even where the crosswalks are, they can get into the crosswalk and nobody's stopping for them, even though it's obviously the law.
That's the problem, is it's kind of, sign pollution and sign ignorance, and people are just seeing so many of them, they don't obey them anymore.
Right.
We're having that problem all over town, it's tough.
Yeah. I'll read it. They had 4 suggestions: flashing LED light, stationing a police officer there, adding speed feedback, so we already have that, and then repainting the crosswalk lines to keep them highly visible. I mean, I think the only real thing is the flashing light, but to your point, you start getting
Yeah.
Too many
sign,
of them, yeah.
exactly.
What about
So-
something in the middle, like a scene like in the middle of the median where there's like a little plastic sign that
And everybody runs those over,
everyone
unfortunately.
doesn't, okay.
Then they become a road hazard, because then they
Yeah.
fly past the windshield. But I think it has to be done partial to
Sorry.
enforcement. We just have to, you start giving people tickets for not stopping for people in these crosswalks, and that will send the message
Yeah.
real quick.
I know they did that in Long Branch, like that was like on Ocean Avenue when they put all the crosswalks there and it was like,
And it'd be easy enough on Deal Road, because you have enough roads to sit there and watch that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you don't have enough pedestrians, because there's
Right.
really not that many pedestrians that cross there. But I know, for example, we put that lighted flashing LED one for the golf carts over on Monmouth Road, and those guys press that light and people just fly past them and don't even stop. So
Yeah.
it's tough, they just they ignore the lights.
yeah,
is
I
what
think the
it is.
enforcement will probably have to be on the weekends, like Saturday, like when
But,
there's a lot
yeah,
more
you-
pedestrians.
Yeah, you have to
going
find out when the
through,
pedestrians are there, and then just
before.
even arrange for
Excuse
some
me.
pedestrians to be there when your police can be there. And just, that's what it's gonna take, because when the word gets out that, hey,
They're
I
gonna-
mean, it's
Yeah.
very similar to riding down Grassmere and Interlaken.
Mhm.
Does anybody go faster than 30 miles an hour down that road ever? No, because there's a police officer every day that sits there and will give you a ticket. I mean, that's the kind of thing, and that's the way it has been. Now he's there maybe 3 out of 5 days, but, they patrol it a lot, and that's what it's gonna take for a while.
Is that something that we can ask the chief?
I'll forward this to you. It had those 4 things in it.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
I'd like, before we lose Greg,
He's not going anywhere yet. We're gonna,
I actually have to leave as
You're
soon as
going?
because I have a planning board meeting today.
okay.
you have 3 minutes. On the dredge spoils, what are the potentiality to put them in at the Kepwell? There's a lawn here, there's low spots here. If the dredge spoils, they're on a truck anyway. If you could dump them location A or location Kepwell, and they're not too toxic with the arsenic.
They are.
Well, I don't know, as far as capping and all, you could.
Well, you have to cap it with a parking lot.
Then they're too toxic.
Right.
So you get the soil from another location, and if you filled truckloads of soil in here and did a smoothing action, you could make this lawn here 5 or 6 times larger, because this red line here is the 102 topographic line. So if you just lay in a smoothing action with truckloads of soil, this entire area becomes a park instead of just garbage, 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 garbage. Right now, this is the only lawn is right next to the house. You've got very good quality land out there in the topographic.
Isn't this all trees?
Who cares? Parks have trees. Parks have trees.
Well, if you're gonna fill it.
I said the same
Because they
thing.
can't be
Scoop
signed.
them and move them. 4-inch trees are easy to move. Big trees, easy come, easy go.
Stand back.
You've got some really good quality land here. You've got some really good quality land.
What I'll tell you, I'll do what the council asked me to do. because I think. the tree
Inside
right
that
now
area is a
pretty
large
tough
park
topic.
area.
Yeah, we're not touching any trees over there.
No.
And because we have a
We're
lot
not
of open-
touching any
we have
trees
a lot of
over in
open
that park
areas
right
right
now.
now.
We're putting in a brand new park over there. It's being donated to the town. It's a handicap accessible park. They've done an incredible amount of work so far.
This is
They're
a spatial
prepping.
relationship, is over, this is the
We can't take
handicap.
any trees down, Jim.
Over here is the quality land, and you're all within.
But it's all wooded.
At the golf course.
It's
I put in the trail system for all the Monmouth County park
Trailers or
systems.
tote road,
Yeah.
yeah.
We move
Tote
trees
road up to the
constantly.
top.
We're not taking
Trees are
any.
not
We're
sacred.
not-
Well, I'll
And
tell
you
you.
got some really good quality.
Jim, I
land.
tell you what, I tell you what we'll do. We'll take it under advisement.
Absolutely.
Okay.
When,
We will take it under
When you get an
advisement.
opportunity to walk that property, it's a really
I've
good
walked it
spatial.
multiple times.
Spatial relationship is excellent.
All right, we'll take it under advisement.
Why couldn't you keep?
Greg, we'll take it under advisement. We'll go take a look out there
I
and
can walk
go
the
check it
property.
out.
I'll walk the property.
Yes.
Maybe I'll take Fisher with me and he can
Yeah.
take a walk too.
I need the exercise.
I'll go take, go take a
I
ride.
think,
out there.
just an aside to that, I think one of the things that we do have to consider at Kepwell is security. We do own that facility now, we do have a pond back there, there's no visibility to that pond, accessibility is tremendous. We've talked about in the past putting a fence around it. That's something I think we should probably put some serious consideration to. I'll get an estimate to put a fence around that, at least to protect us so kids can't walk.
Around the
pond.
entire pond?
Yeah, I don't know that we were so worried about the street side, but the rear yard side.
Okay.
You know, because there's no way to keep a kid from wandering there, and there's no visibility there. Even the neighbors that are adjacent to it to the south can't see the pond, you know,
Okay.
very easily. So we're putting security cameras up in the near future, like next week.
All right.
But still, it's not gonna stop them from getting in the pond by the time emergency services get there. You know, who knows how long that's gonna take.
That's a good idea.
So it's that might be something we could talk about next week, next meeting also.
All right, thanks, Greg.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, bye-bye.
Thank you, Greg.
Dave, you got a couple points to hit?
Yeah, real quick, Mayor, Council, we got, happy to announce the strategic planning process begins tomorrow with a call to me, with the strategic planner, Dr. Monica R. Allen. She will be our strategic planner, and that process starts tomorrow. There'll be a point where she will be setting up appointments with council. I don't know if she's gonna do it as a whole or separately, but you'll get further instructions about that in the future. Some know, some may not. The master plan is scheduled to be heard before the planning board on Monday, August 28th. So get ready for that. Deer management.
Damn, you're on a roll.
We're up to, yeah.
Look at you.
We're up to
Move it.
picking a focal management area. My recommendation is Oakhurst. We need to select a budget. I did some review with Tracy, and we took a look at Princeton's contract with White Buffalo, who we're going into contract with. They did $62,000 for a sterilization program, and then it was another $70K for deer management and removal, which came out to about $132,000. So my recommendation would be about $150,000, and of course, both my recommendation of Oakhurst and the $150,000 is actually your decision.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, the only question I was gonna ask, are we gonna have a follow-up meeting with these surrounding towns like West Long Ranch, Eatontown, Tinton Falls, the ones that butt up to us, just so we can see if they're gonna
Yes.
jump into this thing
Yes,
also?
in their initial meeting, everybody was on board, just trying to figure out what we're doing.
Right, they're gonna follow our lead.
This will help us conclude what we're doing.
Good. All right.
And I'm sorry, the 150 was to do what, Dave?
Sterilization and then deer management and removal.
And I'm, give me a second. And I'm sorry, we need to approve that for a budget?
Well, we're at the
I'm
step
missing.
now where
To
we
apply.
must make application, which is called the Community-Based Deer Management Plan application, which goes to DEP and Fish and Wildlife.
Okay, so if they're not watching, just respectfully, if they're not gonna look at the video. So we put that on there, even if we get approved, respectfully, we still would need to approve the 150. I
Oh,
don't-
absolutely.
Okay,
Yes,
so we're
this is
just
all-
saying, got it.
To
Yep.
get their.
Okay.
Yeah, because now if they approve it, then we gotta come back, like you said, we gotta do either capital plan, put it in next year's operating budget.
Got it.
Find something in this year's budget. Yep.
Make it 175 if you want. No, I'm good. Yeah. That's good.
I thought about that number. Any other comments, concerns? Because this is where Tracy and I will go back to the consultant. He will put a proposal together, because we gotta pay him too, so we gotta
Which
contract
was gonna be
him
my
as
next
well.
question. So
Yep.
we haven't contracted him for that?
No, and part of this, that's part of his money in there. Because he will be doing the sterilization program, he will be doing the deer management program.
But prior to that, we need to pay him to put the plan together.
No, right now he's just doing a proposal. Once that comes in, then we can figure that out. Yep.
Thank you.
And this is all predicated on the fact that the state still has the right to deny or accept his plan?
Absolutely, because once we put all this together, and then he puts it together to us, then we put the overall plan together and send it to the state, then the state's gotta tell us yay or nay.
And I'm sorry, this is still 100% non-lethal.
That's kind of the direction we're going in, even though the consultant is pushing us to.
Correct.
To go do a hybrid.
Thank you.
So that decision, get ready for that maybe next meeting or two coming up.
Got it.
So we should have the plan together by when? September, October?
I would say that the sooner the better, so we
Yeah.
can get it in, because, you know, we were targeting, as the deputy mayor mentioned, we're trying to like do like a January-ish type of start.
But I think the fact that January is even the month to get this, I mean,
Yeah, they said
yeah,
we're in really
definitely.
good
He
shape.
said no later,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
later than February.
Right, no
was.
later
Yeah,
than February,
I mean,
starting
really,
the-
really good shape by, you know, trying to stick to these timelines and get something done here.
But no earlier than, like, what, November? I think
Yeah,
it was like a
because
tight
the-
window. that-
Yeah, no, I know, it's
Yeah.
putting this plan together and stuff, I mean, but at least we're on the right track.
Oh, we're
We're moving.
We're
This is
cooking with
good.
grease here.
Yep,
We got some decisions to make though coming up. So.
yep, okay. Anything else, Dave?
Next up, Greg already talked about Terrace Lake, so I won't repeat all that. Community development, some movement going on. Most of you know that Amy came up. She's working with Jesse now as our deputy clerk.
Oh, yes.
Claire has moved over into Amy's seat, and we're looking to replace Claire as a taco in the department. And we just hired a gentleman who will be doing inspections, which we hope will increase, I should say decrease, the load down there so that more inspections can get done. So those are all good positive things coming from there, and hopefully we get the new taco in there, and that person will help with some of the construction officials' backup, so we can keep that department rolling right along. And also in that department, we'll be doing that enhanced management review kind of for that department in Public Works. Jesse and I will be working on the RFP probably next week. We should be able to have that put together. You already gave us approval to go out to bid. We just got to put the bid together. And finally, on the best note, you should have gotten this, your audit. And if you go to page 60, no recommendations.
Wow.
Clean audit.
That's
Is
awesome.
that possible?
So we like
Wow,
those.
No,
that's
I know.
great.
So
It's the most important page.
congratulations
Yeah, everything else doesn't
That
matter.
doesn't matter.
administration and finance
It's like
for
reading an MRI. You just
doing what we
want
got to do to keep
Exactly.
everything rolling.
That's the first,
Nice job.
when they drop it off, that's the first thing I do.
Yeah.
Good.
None.
Nice
That
job.
concludes my report, Mayor.
Well, that was a great way to end that report.
I always
great.
say the best for last.
Tell Ricky Jartz he must be doing a
Excellent
great
job.
job.
Let me go around the horn. Let's start with Councilman Acero.
So, sorry, couldn't meet yesterday, so got a couple, I'll make it short. Charging, normally it's a half hour. Charging stations, is there a policy recommendations for who can use it, how long they can use it? Got a couple of,
We're researching that now because I got two different answers. When I first got here, I was told that, and Greg would be more qualified to answer this.
I'm
that
sorry, I didn't think.
That it cuts off when we close, but now I'm hearing that may not be true.
okay,
So let me take a deeper dive into that.
thank you, sir.
And you're talking about the ones that are here on municipal hall premises?
Do we have them anyplace else?
Not yet.
Okay, yes,
But
then
we're
these.
working on that too.
Correct, yes. Can I ask the attorney the question on COs and I can ask you, you may not have an answer yet, and you can tell me that, that's fine.
It-
So the question was, I don't know if I emailed everybody on this one, or who got it. So somebody asked, can we issue COs if a property owes taxes?
It depends
It always does, good,
It always
good
depends.
salesman.
on what you mean by a CO. A CO on a brand-new house, like
No.
new built, or a
He's talking an
resale?
So-
addition or something like that.
No, I'm actually
It's not
talking, let me go
commercial.
back, commercial property.
Commercial.
Commercial CO as in, I just purchased this building and am now.
So let's get specific, deal comments.
The reason why it is because there are different answers depending upon what you mean by CO. If it's a CCO, continued
So
occupancy.
let's get specific. Somebody asked about deal comments. Taxes were still due, and we issued COs.
What's Deal Commons?
Ocean comments, sorry. Ocean comments, sorry.
Good
What's
question. I was
ocean
about to say that
comments?
too.
Sorry, ocean comments. Deal in 35
Deal in
is
35.
ocean comments.
That would be part of actually the land use approval should have that. So if you're talking about the whole, close it out, release all the maintenance and those kind of.
Somebody is
agreements.
asking that
Mhm.
they have taxes on the land, according, somebody looked it up, I didn't, so
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true. They still owe taxes on what they purchased,
Right.
yet we're issuing COs. I don't know.
No,
They
the
asked,
answer,
I'm asking.
unfortunately, I'd have to actually look to see what they mean because there's gonna be partial
Yeah,
COs.
Yeah, the final COs definitely have not been issued yet.
So
Right,
the
but the
final-
question is,
the whole
should we
thing-
be issuing
Any.
any,
type of
I'm
CO.
asking, again,
Good question.
That's
it is a good question, I don't know the answer.
That's a not legal question.
Oh, okay. Who do you
I
want to?
mean, at the end for the final,
Does that go to
Done.
UCC?
yeah, it's gonna be, so when it's all done, final, then I would expect not, because that's typically part of the,
Agreement.
well, I was gonna say the application and approval, resolution, and
Right.
payment of all taxes. So, there's your answer. At the final, then probably not.
Okay, in the interim, is it up to,
I'm just gonna say we need to circle back with Ron, get the
Okay.
agreements and see
Yeah,
what's
I
in black
mean,
and white, because
Because there are different, it's like, honestly, it's like different things depending upon if you're talking a partial, temporary, final CO on, multiple phases, so it's.
I'm with you.
Unfortunately, not a very quick and easy.
all good, all good. I'm good, thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes, so I don't know if everyone was aware, but a few months ago, I'd met with somebody in Cedar Village who was concerned about the lantern flies and asked whether we had any resources to spray lantern flies. And he had mentioned there's a grant at the state level which we applied for and we were granted. So
Awesome.
we have a total of $50,000 and another $15,000. I'm not sure what the difference is, but we can reimburse expenses to treat lanternfly infestations in town. So right now they're compiling a list of places that are priority areas, but
Are there
That's
any
available.
specific areas where these are more than others?
certain trees attract the
Right.
lanternfly, like the
They were
tree of
saying
heaven.
crepe myrtles too?
Crepe-
or-
my crepe myrtles
Right, the crepe
destroy.
myrtles and,
So,
Oh, they like great myrtles.
okay.
Destroy.
They're everywhere.
So,
yeah, but there's certain places. I know
yeah.
Tracy's gotten a bunch of calls for
Yeah.
areas that have been.
So the,
Huh?
who would it be reimbursable to? The homeowner that has the infestation?
So we have to submit invoices and receipts to the state for the records, and then they'll reimburse us on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And this grant came from,
The state of
we
New Jersey.
applied for it?
Yes, we applied for it at the recommendation of a gentleman that I met at Cedar Village a couple months back when we were there, and then told Dave and the Director of Public Works about it, and they applied for it.
Cool.
They've had a lot out there in Cedar Village.
Mhm.
Like, a lot of their trees are,
I know this may sound silly, I saw it on the news, but what a lot of towns are doing now, getting vacuums and actually
I saw that.
vacuum.
Really?
Did you see
I
it
saw
too?
that,
Wow.
yeah.
With like a shop vac.
Yeah,
Yeah, makes sense.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know how humane
Yeah,
it
but
is.
you're not bringing that thing in your
Humane?
house, just
Yeah.
all
Did you just say
fly
you
out of
I know,
there.
right?
You said the word
Take-
humane and lantern flies? Come on.
All right, I'm just throwing it out
They-
there.
I mean, the announcements have been kill them when you see them, so.
That's true too.
I was like,
Suck them up.
Yeah, suck them up.
PETA.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an option.
Mort, that's,
It was still our property.
That's good
Yeah,
news
seems-
about
seems
that,
like
so
a
we'll see
cleaner,
how we
easier
can
way to do
implement
it.
this.
Yep.
Cheaper too.
Yeah.
Spray
I'll mention that to Steve, yeah.
Good.
the trunks.
Yeah.
Doc, anything else?
That's
We'll
it.
just use the
Okay.
grant money and buy a whole bunch of vacuums.
There you go. I love it.
Dr. Fisher,
Just
anything
kidding.
for the good of the order?
Just to reiterate what Dave said, we are moving forward with the master plan, which we've been talking about for a long time. So finally, after too many delays, the town will get to hear the master plan on the 28th of August at the planning board meeting. So
And that's open to the public, and the
it's
public
open
can
to the
make comment?
public. The public
Okay.
can comment. The public should be prepared if they have any suggestions. But we've been working on this for a long time, and I'm happy to say we are moving forward.
And David and I met with the chairman this morning and Ed DeFiglia in regard to the master plan, and Dave had a follow-up with Ron Kirk about it, so yeah, we're all on
Yeah.
target. It's definitely something that the entire council wants to get done and put behind us, so there's some things. Anything else, Dave?
That's all I got. Thank you.
Just real quick, like I said, Dave and I had a meeting this morning with them. It went pretty well. Went over a couple things as it relates to the structure and some things that we'd like to see moving forward to make sure that, you know, our residents and business owners are treated with respect at these boards, and you know, things are, you know, moving a little more smooth. Greg, myself, and Dave spoke about, you know, the flooding. That was something that came up. Greg came up with stream cleaning, which we're going to look into with the Department of Agriculture. There's some grants out there that we'll look into. Stream cleaning we've done in the past, which has helped out tremendously for the brooks, getting the trees cleared out, because over years those trees fall in the brook, they block it up. It's almost like a dam. So whatever we can do to alleviate some of that water to get it out of here, that's the you know, totally what we want to do. And that's basically it. I mean, we have a few other things, but I'll go over them next month. That's all I got.
I have-
What's that? Oh, sorry, Jess.
I'm sorry. The past few years, we've been doing the Overdose Awareness Day display, and they're going to be setting up August 8th between noon and 1 p.m. They should be here to set up the flags and the signs.
Nice. On which day is that?
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
August
Tuesday
8th.
the 8th.
Oh, next week.
Yeah, next week.
August
And
8th.
that's the purple flag?
The
Yeah,
purple flags.
purple flags.
Purple flag.
Okay.
Put it right out.
Right out in the, right out in the,
Very good.
right out in the front, by the, yeah.
And what will happen?
They just put out the purple flags. It's
Are people
for
going to
people.
speak at all? Or?
No,
No,
no, they just put them out. It's a display to show people that have died from drug overdoses
Right,
in Monmouth
right.
County, and it actually went down this year.
So it's just the flags up.
The little
Between
flags.
12 and 1 that'll happen, but it'll
It'll be
remain
up for,
there.
it'll be up for, I think, a month.
Nice.
Yeah, they're just setting up that day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Matt, you have anything?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's open it up to the public. Let's start with Jim. Go ahead.
Dave, on your reference to Monica Allen, we had public comments on the master plan. What are the potential for a website that says, send public comments to Monica Allen on the strategic planning? If there's any,
We didn't get that far down the road yet, but
Thank you very
we could
much.
do something like that.
That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
I'm done.
So then we would have
Okay.
time to make comments on it? Is that it?
Not master plan, strategic plan,
Oh,
just to be clear.
In the
You're
sense-
Yeah,
excited.
thank you,
You're
thank you.
excited.
Yeah, two separate things,
well,
yeah.
with the, well, then I'll ask about
Okay,
the
so
master
let's,
plan.
we'll go down the line.
That, the master plan, you gotta direct
That's it,
that to
yeah.
the planning board.
Thanks.
I'm finished with Kepwell.
You got it.
To bring it up again.
Jack?
A couple of things, Jack Kearns, I'm a resident of 8 Baycroft Place. The tree ordinance ought to be, I advertised, spoke for this last time, that we be strict with the enforcement because it's being ignored. Ignored. There have been people changing the actual paperwork that the people apply for to get permission, and then they somehow adjust the number of trees and stuff like that. It's baloney. They should be strictly enforced. The last one was a soft pat on the wrist that went to court here. I sat there and listened to it. And one of the reasons why it didn't get tougher was because the person who had inspected or had seen the event itself, the actual removing of the trees and so forth, is no longer employed by us. So why couldn't we have gotten him back? I don't know. Paid him to come for the day, whatever. I don't know. But you gotta tighten it up because it ain't working. It just is not working.
So can I ask you a question? So you're saying the permit was issued, it was changed.
Yes,
Somebody caught the homeowner doing it or the tree service doing it.
right,
We issued a summons.
yes,
They went to court,
right.
and the judge, in your opinion, wasn't strict enough, or did they
No.
issue the fine based on?
The judge, the court said, we do not have a witness, the inspector, the Ocean Township employee was not available to come because he no longer worked for Ocean Township. That's what was said in the thing. I can't tell you any more than that. That you did not have
Depends on
someone.
how old that summons might have been before we got,
No, it was this
It was
past
the
spring.
previous tree ordinance enforcement person
It
who
was before
was
Bill
contacted but did not respond and did not show up.
So it was a technicality of court proceedings, I guess,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
So.
They did not have, he didn't, the
They didn't get
person who
fined
would
at
have been a witness in the case was not available because it didn't work for the town anymore.
Okay, so I got you there, so, not to beat a dead horse, so no fine was issued?
Should have dismissed the case.
A relatively minor fine, $500 times 2 for 2 trees or something like that. Relatively minor. But the point is, the trees were gone, and for a modest amount, that doesn't mean a thing to most of the people that are doing that. It really doesn't.
Yeah, we're currently working on revamping the tree ordinance to preserve more tree canopy. People are basically doing it because there's no enforcement, or there's limited enforcement on the weekends, and then
We
people
fixed
would
that,
rather
didn't we?
pay into the shade
Yeah,
tree fund
in the
rather than
middle.
replace trees. But we're working on adjusting some of these things.
Good, and I'll give you my opinion on it already. Tighten it up, make it tough to do that, not just money tough, because money
Yeah,
tough
no, it's not,
doesn't mean
it's
a
not gonna be
darn
money
thing.
tough, it's gonna be like that you have to maintain a certain percentage of tree canopy.
I thought I heard at one of your meetings the suggestion of fining the people that take it down, since they know what our resolution is here. If they come in and go against it, even though they're getting paid, they should be fined. That came up at one of your meetings, I heard.
And if they violate, those businesses should not be allowed to work in this township.
Yeah, they should get a violation too.
They have to have a permission to get to work in here.
Mhm.
And if they disobey the rules, get them out. That'll open some eyes for sure.
Mhm.
The other thing that,
talk to our council
Yeah, I
about
don't
that.
know if this
Yeah,
is-
we'll talk to Matt about that. Anything else, Jack?
the only other thing was, I'm glad to see this deer thing moving along. It was kind of a long time getting to where it is, but it looks like you're really knuckling down. And if the state says they don't want to support you, let's go do something about that at the state level if we have to. And say, why? Who the heck are you to tell us what we're gonna do where we live?
Jack, as we stated, we'll be making a decision on this. We're putting our plan forth. We're not
And
gonna
I
stop. We're
like
gonna
what
do
you're
it.
doing. I really like what you're doing.
Thank you.
I'm really pleased with the progress of the past 6 months has been amazing compared to where it was for the past 7 or 8 years that I've been hearing about it. Thanks.
Thanks, Jack. Jackie?
Yeah.
Jack and Jackie?
I want to pick up on
Pair of
a
Jacks.
We don't have a pair of
conversation
Jacks this time.
that you were talking about Deal Road. Last time I came in, I guess I had met with Mr. Brown. I went downstairs and I spoke to the traffic. They said it was one of the traffic department, someone from the traffic department. It was a woman with dark hair, but I forget her name. But anyway, I was telling her that not only are people speeding as they've been doing and crazy driving, they're crossing the double line all the time now. Now, when I come out of my driveway, I can't come right out of my driveway at 40 miles an hour. I'm gonna stop. So it takes me from the minute I make a turn, I'm at 15 miles an hour and someone's coming like 50 miles an hour behind me and they're just passing me on the double line. So I had asked, and one time we had a really very scary experience because there's a part of Deal Road, I know I've brought this up before, but nothing seems to be done about it. There's a part that there's a hill. So when I go just a little bit, and I'm maybe now at 20 miles an hour and this car passed me, luckily there wasn't a car in front of me because there's this hill. He didn't see in the opposite direction a car coming. He immediately had to cut me off now in the front. And luckily there wasn't a car there, because if there was, he would have had nowhere to go, and that would have been a horrible accident. And I keep bringing this up. One of my suggestions were perhaps right over at that section on Deal Road, because that's where a lot of people come in and out, and that's where the crosswalk is that we're saying nobody's paying any attention to the crosswalk when people are trying to cross from Joe Play Park. That maybe we could put a sign that says, now I'm making up this number, but I think it would be effective, if we could put up a sign that would say $1,000 fine for crossing the double line. And if that could be enforced, I don't know who puts rates on tickets, how that gets really officiated. But if you look at a sign that says $1,000 fine for crossing the double line, you might stop doing it, but it's really repetitive now. I talked about the one scary experience where I actually almost came in an accident. But this is happening all the time now. Like, if I'm not quick enough, they're crossing the double line. And then when I'm coming the other way.
Quick question, I'll let you return after this question. Park car on the side of the road. You cross the double line for 60, 70 feet. What's your opinion on crossing the double line? Park
If
car on
there's
the,
nobody parks on Deal Road.
not that road. All the other roads, $1,000 fine for crossing yellow. Every time
Even
you
if
go
you put it
around
on
a park
double-
car, you cross the double
No,
yellow.
Or bicycles.
If you put it on Deal Road.
Or
Deal Road
bicycles.
is
She
like,
lost me on this one.
Deal Road.
We go over the double yellow lines 20 times a day.
Like if you have like bicycles, like.
It's
you would have
illegal
to-
to go over a double line.
I do it 20 times a day
Well,
going
you
No,
around.
no, 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 no,
Yeah.
you're thinking
Pass
the
it.
dots, you're thinking of the space, she's talking the straight lines.
That's illegal.
That's what
The
she's
double.
talking, and she's right, that's illegal to go over the double line.
Right.
The spaces, you're allowed. Jackie, we'll have the chief look into that one. Not sure if we can do anything, but let him take a look at
There
that.
should be a sign. So what they told me they would do.
He'll have the chief take a look at that. You have anything?
I just think in general, we have a very good police department in this town, and we're all very proud of them. I just feel like if one of them, like every day, someone could be parked there to monitor, like, the traffic, what's going on right now.
The problem,
Even if it's just for the summer.
Jackie, the problem with parking somebody on that specific road is we're limited with manpower that we have throughout the day.
For
So,
the traffic, the police.
well, you can't just put a cop on that spot in Deal Road and leave him there. I mean, there's 11
Like,
square miles to
Right.
rotate
Dennis.
throughout the town.
On Dennis is a good spot, because that's right where.
Yeah, but you
that's
can't
where
just sit
crosswalk
there
is.
all day.
No, with a shift, can't
Well,
they turn?
they do,
don't have-
they sporadically go out. They're all over the place. I mean, I've seen them in areas lately that I haven't seen them in. I mean, because we keep expressing this to the chief, and he's extremely proactive in things that we're bringing to the forefront. So, our manager will speak to the chief tomorrow and bring it up again.
Maybe we could put a sign, because we do have jurisdiction over Deal Road, at least that section of it. I heard earlier, you're saying when it's west, that's a state road, but I know from 35 down to.
Or Route
it's-
18 is. Or Route
Okay.
18
But
comes
Deal, the entire strip of Deal
Yeah,
is
but
on
where
Ocean
that
Township.
bridge is, where the exit ramps are, that's not Ocean Township's problem.
Yeah, DOT has a certain amount of runoff of those.
Right, so
off of
I'm mostly
18.
concerned where the park is, where kids go, seniors in the morning try and cross at that crosswalk, and they have to wait and wait. I even when I was trying to slow down to make a left, when I was heading west and wanted to go over to my driveway, someone got impatient because I had to stop I can't go 40 miles an hour into my driveway. And he also crossed the double line, that was going the other way. But he could see who's coming. It's when they do it when I'm heading east, that it's really dangerous.
So,
Alright, so
to-
Dave, we'll have chief look into that.
And then, okay, go ahead. Go on.
if I may, so having asked the chief for a number of signs lately from residents, not to get too technical, but the manual on uniform traffic control devices says what kind of signs you can put up. You can't just make, and no disrespect, you can't just make a sign up and put it up. It actually has to be in that manual. I'm gonna be shocked if that's in the manual, so you may not see that
Wait,
sign.
about a
Crossing the
fine,
red
about a
line,
fine.
a yellow line for 1,000, whatever the.
I
I know, I
think
thought it would
Jackie's
be
looking
effective.
for awareness of that,
Correct.
the hill and stuff. I think that's basically what we're looking for.
But, so they had told me they would put up one of those signs that has a message, you know, she had a name for the sign that has a messaging, and that she would just say, you know, don't
different,
cross the double line.
we can
But
say that.
it didn't show up. That was like 2 weeks ago, and it hasn't shown up yet. So I'm just saying, because there's a horrific accident about to happen.
And to the mayor's
And we don't
point,
want to all be going, I don't want to say, don't do so.
and to the mayor's point about the chief hearing requests like that, a request came in because they were complaining about people cutting through the Methodist church on Monmouth and South Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, there was a person pulled over in the parking lot because they cut right through it. So he is listening, the
Good.
chief and the police. So it's,
Good.
but to the mayor's point, it's limited resources. You're not gonna catch everybody.
Okay. And then one more thing, and I'll stop. With the master plan, at least my experience in town, when it gets to the master plan, it's very difficult to make any changes. Is this, the master plan, going to be an opportunity that the public really, I mean, are there major changes? Could they highlight what are the major changes? Because I thought the 1990 master plan was
So-
quite a good one, we just really aren't following.
The master plan is like a scope of practice. It is a blank canvas that sort of gives a guideline for the future. It's not pinpointing and specific. We're trying to create urban zones. We're trying to think about the future of the town. We talk about what's been built up. You know, we don't have 30-acre tracts that can be, you know, built up anymore. We don't have, you know, so it talks about all these wonderful things. I don't know if there's anything specific in there unless you've got a real hot button issue, like you want a brewery zone or you want a, you know, something else. So I think that your questions, if you have something very specific that you would like to add to the master plan.
No, I just think there were a lot of good things in the master plan in terms of zoning and the importance of zoning that we,
And-
whenever a developer
Yes.
needed the zoning out of their way,
So the
we
zoning-
just changed it.
So yeah, so this is a guideline to go forward. So yeah, there are gonna be some changes because the makeup of the township has now changed. The makeup of our land has changed. So yes, some of those things are in there. But I think if you got something very specific that you want or you need, you should probably contact Ron Kirk. Because
I've done all of those things
because
over the years,
be-
it hasn't been effective
if you
in
want
any
to
way.
comment, that's one thing, and it's fine, you can comment on anything. But if you have something that maybe we don't know about, you say, you know what, I would really like to create something, then come to Ron with it.
No, I thought the
Because-
1991 had very good boundaries to maintain the quality of the township. And I know, yes, it's 2023 and times are changing and many people are home on their computers where they weren't before. But, you know, my feeling often into the tree issue is why do people buy into an area that's wooded, which attracted many of us to this town because it was different than all the other shore towns that are pebble beach, you know, pebble sand lawns, to come to a town that's wooded with the arrogance of taking all the trees down and making it their own. And then we say, well, we can bend this, and we've been bending and bending, that our town has dramatically changed. And you know.
But people also have the right to do things in the confines of their property as well. I mean, we get into a point where the town could potentially get sued because we're so stringent on what the rules are as it relates to the trees and the canopy coverage. That's what Dr. Donlan's working on right now with the tree canopy and everything else to make it a little more fair to the town for areas that are totally different, because Wanamass is different than Wayside's different than Oakhurst. So right now, that ordinance needs to be worked on, and that's what Dr.
So
Donlan.
3 trees in Wanamass is different than 3 trees
Yeah,
in Wayside.
it's way
You know,
different.
So,
Right.
and really our goal is to prevent clear cutting of the properties
Right.
where there's no trees left.
And I
To
like the
maintain
discussion
certain
that's going on
coverage,
right now, that it's a potential of moving not towards the tree, but towards the canopy coverage, and that's exactly what you want.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we all heard on the news, it was the hottest our planet has been in recorded history. And if that doesn't make some people wake up a little bit to the power of shading our planet with a tree.
But one of the
Thank
bigger
you.
problems is that you're looking at one town, where there's 540 municipalities in the state of
Right.
New Jersey, we're one town.
Right.
We may have all these wonderful thoughts, but unfortunately, if you drive into Wall Township or some of these other towns, you'll see all kinds of developments and construction going on. So it's a bigger problem, and I understand where you're coming from, but we have what we can control control here, but you don't have to go very far to see what's going on in the other towns.
Right, but that's the same thing everywhere. Like Ocean Grove doesn't have bars or liquor license. And all the other towns do.
Because their
but they
rules go
stay
back to
firm.
1930 when they had prohibition.
No,
There's
but
not
they're
even a
firm on it.
comparison to
I
Ocean
just-
Grove.
I know, I just think.
I mean,
That may be
Councilman
the one-
Fisher's right on target. I mean, you go to any town,
I mean, that may be one town you can't even explain because
It's
actually part of
it's
Neptune.
actually,
Part of
Ocean
Neptune.
Grove is actually just owned
Pardon, by
by the,
Neptune.
by the church.
camp meaning,
Yeah,
So
association,
that's all
camp,
private land.
Mhm.
all private land.
you can't even buy property. It's a 99-year lease.
It's, that's not a good
All right, maybe
example.
that wasn't a good example.
That's not- That's not your
Thank you.
best.
Can I get, because I have
Okay,
strict
I-
rules here from my clerk telling me I have to
Yeah,
finish
I
up.
see the time.
It's okay, go ahead.
Very interesting. I've never been to a town council meeting. It was
Na-
very
name first,
interesting.
please.
Jerry Busfield. I live in Oakhurst, 277 Jerome Avenue.
Thank you.
I travel South Lincoln all the time, at least once or twice a day. Have to come to the intersection of Monmouth Road eventually,
Yep.
or Norwood, depending on which direction I'm traveling. So I read Mr. Sarah's list that one of the discussions would, I think it was going to be a discussion, that is there going to be a light
Norwood and,
on South Lincoln and Norwood?
yeah, did you see my response back this morning?
Pardon?
Did you see my
I
response
did.
back? Okay.
So is there going to be a light there?
W-
On Norwood and South Lincoln?
It's on the agenda tonight for budget approval.
Okay, so this will be discussed privately in a private session?
We vote on it at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, technically, there's no
Oh, you,
discussion.
oh,
it's a
so I
vote.
would have to stay at.
Well, no, you
7?
can bring up, you can ask a question.
Yeah.
You would do the same thing downstairs.
Mhm.
So it's going to be voted on, you said? So it hasn't been decided?
So,
Well, there's two steps to the process. Right now, the township has to make a decision, which we decided, yes, we want a traffic light there.
Oh, you have, okay.
But it's gotta go through the state.
Right,
So,
right.
and they want a resolution from us, which is being approved tonight, by the council.
Mhm.
And that will be sent to the state saying, yes, we want it, and here's our portion of the money that we've committed, because it's in our
I
budget.
saw that,
But now-
62,000, right?
Now, we're passing to the state, and the state now has to do what they have to do.
I got it.
They have to come out with engineers and
I
do what
got
they
it,
have.
I got it. So how did you get to this point? Did you do a traffic study? Or you heard a lot of complaints about getting onto Norwood Avenue?
More
Why was
requests,
there a
right?
decision made at that particular intersection?
a little of everything. I'll
Yeah.
speak for myself. We got
Same.
some complaints from residents. We got some other people saying, at me personally, it is if you live there, you know it. Getting across South Lincoln this time of the year is, South Lincoln in Norwood is nearly impossible. So
It's wild.
a person that lived on the corner or next to it, a couple of houses away,
Yeah.
had called and started discussing it with the council, and Dave reached out.
The engineer and everybody.
Long Branch got, because it is a state road and it's in two towns. So
Right, right.
We're on
the
one
other
side.
is Long
Long
Branch?
Branch, correct. So the I'll let the manager speak, but he had spoken to the Long Branch folks, and,
No, I kind of left them out of it to speed the
well, that's
process
kind of
up.
where I was gonna be tactful. I was gonna be tactful about it, but okay, yeah.
Because if we
We
went
said-
that route, we still may not be
Right.
here right now.
Sorry, John.
So no traffic study officially was done?
I think it needs to be done. I think that is part of the
Yeah,
next
The
step.
state will do that
The
next.
state takes care of that?
Yeah.
And it could be a no. I mean, you're not 100%
It could-
sure
and that-
it'll be
and
approved.
exactly why I didn't, because you said, is it gonna be done, and that's why it's a maybe.
Because, the traffic is mostly in the summer, because that's when I travel that road all the time. So the same thing applies to the Monmouth Road intersection, especially in the summer, as I brought up in the email, or the response to
Yes.
your text. And then there's the issue with the church parking lot, and I do attend that church, and I was almost run over by someone impatiently waiting at that intersection. I don't care, I'm just gonna cut through the church parking lot when there are parishioners leaving, and then in the other times a year, there are children, parents dropping off children, parents picking up children. Besides the road issue, is there any enforcement? Now, you had said a police officer.
Coincidentally, I didn't know you were Jerry, but when I
Right.
brought that up, I rode by this morning, saw a police officer pull the car over.
Oh, you know what, I saw that.
That
I was
just
going
happened
too
this
fa-
morning?
This
I
morning,
did see
I was
that.
going, I don't want to say
You
too
were right.
fast,
Yeah.
but
So
I was ready to go back
When
and
we
take a
left our
picture of it
meeting.
and
Yeah.
post it. But you complained, we brought it up to the chief, and I'm not saying that's gonna stop it, but it certainly,
Well, that's just one day, I mean, they do it all year long. people do it all year long,
Correct.
but in the summer, it's much worse.
But just like the interlaking thing, you get the word out, and then people start thinking, maybe this isn't such a
I should have
great
posted
move.
it for that
Now all of a
reason.
sudden, bang, you're gonna get a ticket. So, yeah, you gotta get
Yeah,
the word out.
Issue tickets every day.
So here's
Before
what we'll
a
do.
child is run over,
I
or a
understand.
person leaving church gets knocked down by a car.
Here's what we'll do. We'll call the police up. You try to go through the parking lot. I'll stop there and take a picture. We'll post it. We'll cover your license plate so they don't know it's you. And we'll get the fear of Jesus in people.
In the
I'm
church
tongue in cheek, but
Right.
Dave's right.
In the
I
church
mean,
parking lot.
right.
So-
That was-
Yeah, right, right.
That was my point. All right.
So getting back to the intersection of Monmouth Road and South Lincoln, it's not quite as bad as Norwood, but it's getting there on Sunday mornings.
Correct.
It's very bad. People cannot get out on Monmouth Road.
So there is, if you heard this
Just
morning,
do a
there is
light at the bagel store.
there is a,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
Jesus. There is a traffic study scheduled. That was the question I asked
For
to
the
the.
town is doing a
That's
traffic study.
no, because that's a county
County
road.
road,
So
yeah.
the county's
The
got to
county is
do that.
doing it.
Correct.
With the ultimate goal of what? Maybe getting a light there? I mean, I
I'd
don't
be
know if the light
surprised.
is
It
really
was.
needed.
It started out. It started out as a crosswalk. To ask for a crosswalk. Because there's no place to cross Monmouth safe. There is no place to cross Monmouth
That's
safely.
there.
At least from, to the mayor's point, from West Park Avenue, almost. I don't want to go all the way to Deal, but certainly past this Board of Ed. I don't know how far up you want to go before it becomes
Yeah,
safe.
that's true.
Maybe Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Okay.
But nice
Anything
to
else?
meet you, Joe.
No,
Thank you.
not really.
Nice to meet
All
you.
right, whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975 permits the public from a meeting in circumstances, and whereas the public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist now, therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Ocean County of Monmouth as follows. Public shall be excluded from the discussion and action upon there and after specified subject matters. General nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows, attorney-client discussion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Aye.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that all Township Council meetings will be audio and videotaped. They'll be shown on our Township of Ocean's Community Cable Channel, Channel 22, on Verizon Fios, and Channel 77 on Cablevision. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Napolitani?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Donlin? Deputy Mayor Donlin? Mark?
Hello.
Hello? Yeah. Margie? Yeah. Okay. Councilmember Chera?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Okay, please stand for a pledge of allegiance and remain standing as we do a silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied, and a copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster, posted in Town Hall, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 8th, 2022. There are two emergency exits on the wall to my right that'll take you to the front of the building, and one to the back that'll take you to the rear of the building. Please make sure all your cell phones are turned off. If you need to make a call, kindly walk outside the room, and you can make your call out there. Just a couple of updates here. We had a proclamation for Sarah Taylor. She's unable to attend tonight. What we do have is a proclamation for International Overdose Awareness Day. If I could have it, please. As most people are aware, drugs are a pretty serious, drug addiction is a pretty serious epidemic throughout, especially Monmouth and Ocean County. So we're doing this proclamation for International Overdose Awareness Day. Whereas each year we lose thousands of people from drug overdose globally. Some survive but suffer a permanent injury, with devastating impact on their families and friends, and whereas the Township of Ocean is not immune. You may have seen it as it has happened to people around you. Tomorrow it could happen to someone you love. This is not an invisible issue, and whereas International Overdose Awareness Day provides an opportunity for us to reflect on practical ways to prevent overdose in our community. Overdose is preventable. Knowing the real facts about drugs and what to do when you see somebody experiencing overdose does save lives. International Overdose Awareness Day events that aim to educate our communities about drugs can really help. Now, therefore, be it resolved and be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the Township of Ocean, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, hereby declares International Overdose Awareness Day on October 31st, 2023. And there will be an overdose awareness display that will be out in front of Town Hall starting on Tuesday, where they will put up the purple little flags out there just to raise the awareness. I'm pretty sure that most of us in this room have had a friend or a loved one pass away from an overdose. So it's really that important, and we're glad that we could do that tonight. Thank you. Yep. Okay, all matters listed under the item consent agenda are considered routine by the Township Council and will be enacted by one motion in the form of listed below. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If discussion is desired on any item, that item will be considered separately. The purpose of the public portion is to solely ask questions to understand resolutions that appear on the agenda. All questions not related to an agenda on the agenda should be asked during the public comments portion at the conclusion of the meeting. The only item that will be pulled and separated would be Resolution 167. That will be the only item that will be pulled to the side and individually voted on. If you have any questions as it relates to the resolutions and individual action, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. I totally forgot about that.
Jackie Wenzel,
Address?
Deal Road, 610 Deal Road. Yeah, I was reading on our website earlier before the meeting, and I noticed that where you're accepting performance guarantees on the following, that 5 Branch Road and 961 Norwood had some differences, some changes to their application. Certain things were going to be waived. It was on the website. I guess it's here.
It's
on the
23-152. Right, first one.
Yeah, it's just accepting
Because
their.
these accepting performance guarantees for the following, but it said, it's not on this paperwork, it was on the website. It said that 5 Branch Road and 961 Norwood was going to have certain things waived. I just wanted to know what they were.
What did I know of?
Yeah.
It's just accepting the normal. My Branch Road is accepting their just because it's not a developer's agreement, it's a single family home. They waive entering into a developer's agreement.
So what's the difference of a developer's
The
agreement?
developer's agreement is more site improvements, and it's usually commercial or two single family homes.
Okay, so if it's
A single family home.
they're not required to follow the same.
To follow into a developer's agreement, they still have to follow site plan improvements on the
Okay.
performance guarantees.
Okay. And then had sorry, this is just resolution.
Just resolutions. Thank you.
Could you explain
Name and
Don
address.
Stein, Chestnut Avenue. Could you explain Resolution 12, please?
So what we're doing is we've had a request from a couple of residents over in that area that want to help clean up that area of the lake and that trail that's back there. There was a trail that actually led all the way up to Park Boulevard at the time, to Rouge Park. So there'll be a an advisory committee that will work with our engineer to help clean that up and clean up the trail. Don, they gotta get you at the mic. They gotta hear you. Thanks, Don.
So is the footbridge considered part of this trail or no?
That's not part of the trail.
Okay.
My name's David Dempsey. I live at 52 Park Boulevard. I live right there. I was wondering what side, is it the south side or the north side of the lake that you're talking about, the trail?
The trail, the existing trail, if I'm not mistaken, goes
North side.
north side.
I'm north, no?
I would say north.
So it's the old.
The old trail that
remember
was
why-
there.
Do you remember, I'm just going back.
You're going way
Remember
back.
Why they
Yeah.
closed, they got rid of the basketball courts on Park Boulevard?
Do I know why?
Remember why? Do you know why?
I kind of have a reason why.
Well, because people were using that trail to get
Right.
to those, and there was a lot of problems with that. Is there any, because, and I live there, and I've had problems where, for example, when it's big garbage day, living rooms have been set up back there. People, kids, I don't know, I'm not, kids take couches, chairs, tables, bring them back there. They drink back there. There's a liquor store a quarter mile away. Now that it's grown, because people don't walk back there, so it is now grown. That stuff has stopped, and I understand. I think it'd be great to have a walkway too, but it's also potentially a problem. And
We can definitely take that under advisement and speak to the chief of police about that as well.
it's a good point.
Yeah.
Didn't think of it.
My name is Barbara Nicoli. I live at 52 Park Boulevard. Who's on the advisory committee regarding this?
It hasn't been established yet.
So can citizens be part of that advisory committee?
Absolutely.
Okay, how would we get in touch with someone to be part of that?
You can contact the township manager, David Brown.
No,
David?
Mayor, let me just,
Okay.
in the resolution, it names the people.
Oh, we do have the names
Yes,
in there?
sir.
Oh, I didn't
Okay.
see that.
Yep.
So, and there's no chance for citizens to be part of that?
Well, they're still gonna be accepting volunteers, I believe, so you can get, once the advisory committee's set up, we'll get them on the website, and then you can probably, they're gonna need people to help, so I'm not quite sure they're gonna turn anybody
On the
away.
Township, on the township website? That's what we'll
Yes,
see
yeah,
something
just
about?
like we have all the other
Okay.
committees and commissions.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Joel Gladstein, 45 Stonehenge Drive, Ocean, New Jersey. I want to comment on Resolution 23-168. I'd like to thank Mayor Napolitani, David Fisher, David Brown, Mr. Blair, and the rest of the town council for putting this resolution on the agenda tonight. This crossing has been a major concern of mine for a long time, and I'm appreciative for the commitment that the council is making after I brought this situation to their attention. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard on resolutions? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Daniel Tavelli, 208 Lockwood Place. Thank you, Mayor, and everybody else on the council, and Mr. Town Manager Brown. Thank you for answering my emails.
Absolutely.
And bringing the resolution number 18 about putting the traffic light over here on South Lincoln and Norwood. The whole town, the whole neighborhood is very excited about this. And if we could get it decided in our favor, it would be really appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Seeing here none, do I have a motion for consent agenda resolutions 152 through 173 with resolution 167 pulled out and will be voted on individually? Do I have a motion to approve those resolutions?
I'll make a motion to approve those resolutions.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin? Fisher?
Yes.
Napolitani?
Yes. Resolution 167, motion to approve appointments to the Environmental Commission and the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Do I have a motion to approve 167?
With the deletion.
with the deletion of
The alternates.
the alternates on there.
On the Board of Adjustment.
No, on the Board of Adjustment. So we're gonna delete the alternates off the zoning Board of Adjustment temporarily, and they will be added on in September. So I have a motion to approve Resolution 167.
Motion to approve Resolution 167 as amended.
As amended. Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin? Donlin? Or- Oh, I think we've lost her.
There was a no vote.
As a,
Pass.
she's just present, not voting.
Present.
Hey, what?
Present, not voting, if she's not answering.
And Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Individual action vouchers in the amount of $2,567,878.30. Do I have a motion to approve the vouchers?
I'll move to approve the vouchers.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Council.
Oh. Where did that come
Donlin?
from? Fisher? Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Motion passes. Ordinances up for adoption. We have Ordinance 2427, which is an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a public access easement over a portion of Lot 19.02, Block 33 in the Township of Ocean, Monmouth County, which is Road A, or the Urban Jug Handle. Do I have a motion to open public discussion on Ordinance 2427?
I would like to make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2427.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard on Ordinance 2427, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Seeing here none, do I have a motion to close public discussion on Ordinance 2427?
Could you explain a little bit about the jug handle?
Explain about the easement?
Resolution. You're saying there's a jug handle?
Well, that's the urban jug handle that goes around the development, Ocean Commons.
No, this one.
So what are you, because you bring it up for discussion, I'm not as aware of it.
It's the jug handle that is that's going to exist within the new development up on the corner. Well, it has to be released at this point. Dave, do you want to re-explain the public access? That's for the state.
The council has to accept the road, so that
Right now, the state
True,
hasn't.
but not legally.
We haven't
Yeah.
accepted it yet, so the state hasn't.
It's a procedure.
Okay, but it's safe, right? Because people are already using it.
It's absolutely safe, but we have to accept it to make it officially on our books.
So I'd like to make a comment about it. My husband insisted I take a walk up there. I swore I'd never do it, but he insisted I take a walk and see. He's like, I walk it with the dog. Come, let's walk it. So we went from the park, we went to the library grounds, and then we wanted to make it over to the Memorial House. And it's very difficult to cross where that urban jug handle is. It's very dangerous. There's not consistent sidewalks. And what's tricky about it is, this is, people are, especially people that are heading west to head west on Deal, they're already a little angry by the new configuration of the road. And then they're like coming through there and they're speeding, and there's parts that there's just no sidewalk, it just stops. You're getting there and then you're standing on grass and you're not really sure, there's not a crosswalk, there's nothing really properly explaining where you're going. So and it's a two-way, right?
So the project is still under construction right now. Obviously, you know that there's construction vehicles going in and out. They're continuing the work. It hasn't finished. I am going to make the assumption that there'll be more signage as the project becomes more complete.
Yeah, there needs to be a sidewalk that brings you from the library and the homes. Because even where the homes are, you don't have a proper sidewalk to get into the areas that they may want to visit, like the Miller Ale House. And then, there's something, I have to say, going to the Miller Ale House after trying to figure out how to cross the jug handle, which I say was dangerous because people are going very fast. Then you're trying to go to the Miller Ale House, but then you have to pass all these cars that are in Chick-fil-A, and they're all just their cars are just, the engines are running and it's hot, so you're getting all this like emission from the cars, which feels very toxic. I don't know what they can do about that. Because you're trying to walk to the Miller Ale House, you have to pass these cars that are just sitting there idle. And I don't know if there's a way to have any kind of separation, but it's really, this time of the year, it doesn't smell like this. And one more thing, I just everybody's been complaining about the speed in town and what's.
Okay, that's only ordinances right now. Anyone else wishing to be heard on ordinance?
Did it stop? Dead battery now?
Sometimes people touch the mic and it shuts it off.
There you go.
Thanks, Don.
Anyone else wishing to be heard on 2427? Seeing here none, do I have a motion to close public discussion on ordinance 2427?
Like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2427.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Achara?
Yep.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes.
Motion.
Action on ordinance 2427.
I would like to move to adopt ordinance 2427 and publish according to law.
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Achara?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance 2427 passes. Ordinance 2428, which is a bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements and the acquisition of various capital equipment appropriating $4,310,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4,103,850 in bonds and notes to finance a portion thereof. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2428?
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2428.
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Achara?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard on ordinance 2428, again, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address. Seeing here none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2428?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2428.
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Achara?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance, action on ordinance 2428.
Mr. Mayor, do we still have Councilwoman Donlin
She's-
on?
She is.
Deputy Mayor, excuse me.
She's going to text when her phone died.
We don't have quorum enough
The ordinances.
for the
For the
bonding.
Bond.
Okay.
Call her back. Here.
There.
Well, no, if her phone died, yeah.
Her phone died.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll hold the bond ordinance?
Hold the bond ordinance.
Maybe she'll text before the end of the meeting.
We would have to skip ordinance 2429 as well, right?
Yes.
That's correct, yes.
All right, we'll skip down to ordinance 2430.
Kind of know what I'm doing.
Which is an ordinance authorizing the enforcement of Subtitle 1, Title 39 of the revised statutes of the state of New Jersey to be applied to the property owned by West Park 35 Developers LLC, 2105-2107, Highway 35 and 777 West Park Avenue, Block 3, Lots 13-1, 16.02 in the Township of Ocean, and supplementing and amending Chapter 12 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Ocean 1965. Entitled Traffic. Can someone please open public hearing on ordinance 2430?
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2430.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard on ordinance 2430, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Same question.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if, with regard to this, part of the application approval was to be able to have traffic laws enforced on this private property, the parking lot and the driveways, to have the township be able to enforce speeding, no parking, it needs to be submitted, and ordinance needs to pass to say whether, to allow the Ocean Township Police to enforce the traffic laws on this private property.
So it's a private property.
Yes, it's the was this the Outback
It's gonna be
Steakhouse?
Outback. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be able to enforce it that way over.
Yes.
Anyone wishing to be heard on ordinance 2430, please step up to the microphone. Seeing here none, do I have a motion to close public hearing on ordinance 2430?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2430.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Do I have action on ordinance 2430?
I would like to move to adopt ordinance 2430 and publish according to law.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Napolitani?
Yes. Ordinance 2430 passes. You want to give her a try?
She's 1905.
Yeah.
You did it in your head?
No, well, yeah, but I had to think about it for a second.
I'm guessing Margie may have told
She's
us.
trying to call.
He said the batteries are dead on the microphone.
How's everybody's summer going?
Now it's just regular.
Italian Festival next week.
You want to do announcements, John?
Yeah, let me go around the horn with council comments. Councilman Fisher.
I'd like to congratulate our police department, our parks and recreation, our social services for a phenomenal national night out the other night. It was the most highly attended event I have seen ever. Everybody worked so hard, and I have to tell you, it was a really, really exciting event. So next year, come on out, and it really was excellent. I won't steal Rob's thunder about the Italian festival, but I'm going to yield to Rob.
Come on.
Councilman Sarah.
All right. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Italian Festival, this is our 47th annual, I believe. It is next week, Wednesday, August the 9th through the 13th. If the mayor will bear with me, there are a couple of things. So for those of you that haven't been there, that weren't there last year, Galbani Foods will be doing cooking demonstrations. That'll be going on each night. For those of you who also know, there's a grand 50-50. Last year we gave out $54,000. Hold on, let me get my number right. $55,000. We're already ahead of last year's numbers, so if you're interested in a 50-50, stop by. Castle building contest, fireworks will be Friday night at dark. Hold on, I got a couple more things. Obviously, rides and attractions. Bracelet night is Wednesday night, so you get discounts on the rides. Obviously, there's great food and games, free parking as always, and free admission, and live music each night. That is the festival. I was going to say, any questions on that?
Okay. Perfect. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to put you on speakerphone.
To be continued.
Continue your report.
So sorry.
No, let's do that so our cell phone doesn't ring. No?
Margie, you have enough juice on that phone? Deputy Mayor, do you have enough power on that phone?
Yes, I am in the car and charging.
Okay. We have to do 2 bond ordinances, so we're going to need you on here. Okay. Ordinance 2428, once again, it's a bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements and the acquisition of various capital equipment appropriating $4,310,000. Therefore, authorizing the issuance of $4,103,850 in bonds and notes to finance a portion thereof. Can someone please open public hearing on ordinance 2428?
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2428.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Napolitani?
Yes. Once again, if anyone wishes to be heard on ordinance 2428, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Seeing here none, do I have a motion to close public hearing on ordinance 2428?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2428.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Napolitani?
Yes. Action on ordinance 2428.
I'd like to move to adopt ordinance 2428 and publish according to law.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Napolitani?
Yes. Ordinance 2428 passes. Ordinance 2429, which is a bond ordinance providing for various roadway, drainage, pedestrian, and parking improvements appropriating $2,750,000. Therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,350,000 in bonds and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof. Can someone please open the public hearing on ordinance 2429?
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2429.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin? Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance 24, Ordinance 2429. Can I have someone please close, wait.
You're right.
Yeah, close public hearing on ordinance 2429.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2429.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin? Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Action on ordinance 2429.
I'd like to move to adopt ordinance 2429 and publish according to law.
Second.
Yeah, a second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin? Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance 2429 passes. Introduction of ordinances 2431.
Mayor, if I may, point of inquiry through you to municipal clerk, if we could just verify that we voted on, took action on 2430.
Okay.
Oh, yes. We took action on ordinance 2430.
We did. Okay, thank you.
This side of the room wasn't sure.
Ordinance 2431, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Ocean 1965 entitled Property Maintenance and Housing, establishing the lead paint inspection program. Can someone please introduce ordinance 2431?
I'd like to move to introduce ordinance 2421.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin? Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. And that ordinance 2431 will have its public hearing on September 14th, 2023. Ordinance 2432, which is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 21 of the Comprehensive Land Development Ordinance of the Township of Ocean. Can someone please introduce ordinance 2432?
I would like to move to introduce ordinance 2432.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin? Fisher?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. And that ordinance will also have its public hearing on September 14th, 2023. Let me finish up with council comments, and then we'll open it up for public comments. So, Councilman Chair, I believe you're in the middle of your report.
Done with the Italian Festival, and
Okay.
for those of you that are golfers, or even if you're not, the Greater Ocean Township Chamber of Commerce is having our annual golf outing. It's being held on September the 11th this year. We are donating funds to a number of first responder organizations and Tunnel to Towers. You can go on the Greater Ocean Township website, gotcc.org, to find out about sponsorship opportunities and or if you're interested in playing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Dave?
Mayor, just want to give hats off to everybody involved with the National Night Out. It was a huge success.
Thank you.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Nothing. Very nice. Totally echo the sentiments of everybody that talked about National Night Out. It was clearly a bang-up job by everybody. I cannot say enough about all of the staff that participated in this event. It was really, truly a success. We have probably one of the best National Nights Out, especially with the facility that we have at the pool complex. Nothing could be better than where we have it presently. To piggyback off of Councilman Achara, yes, the Italian Festival's happening, and just so everybody out here understands, this club this year alone gave out $60,000 in scholarships to kids throughout Monmouth County. It's been a fantastic event each and every year. We've raised thousands and thousands of dollars that gets given out to the children in the community and outside of the community. So the festival is a lot of fun, but it brings in a lot and it gives back a lot. So, Rob, I'll tell you what a great, weekend that we have. And the weather looks like it's going to be good.
I knew it. I held off. I didn't want to say that.
It'll be fine. We need... Okay, public comment portion. What's that? Oh, Deputy Mayor, I'm sorry.
I just want to echo all the sentiments about National Night Out. Phenomenal job by our police department, Department of Recreation, everyone at the pool complex. So thank you for that. There's also this weekend on Sunday at the Turner Gallery an art exhibit exhibiting artwork from 16 artists. I believe that's from 2 to 4 or 2 to 6 perhaps. I don't have the exact time on me, but it's Sunday afternoon, and it's always a really nice Sunday afternoon at the gallery. So swing by and say hi.
2 to 4. 2 to 4 o'clock.
2 to 4, thank you.
You're welcome.
One other quick one. We do have another golf tournament. It's the Mayor's Charity Golf Outing, which will be held on October 26th. That will benefit the Community Celebration Fund and Community Hope Fund. It all goes back to the community here. So that's on October 26th at Hollywood Country Club. Details will be forthcoming. Public comments portion. If you have anything germane to the Township of Ocean that you'd like to step up to the microphone, state your name and address, please understand you have a 5-minute limit. So, again, if you have any comments in regard to Ocean Township, step up to the microphone.
I'm back again.
Yes, sir.
Richard Kirk, 40 South Tidmore Drive. I'd just like to give you a little history on the trail, okay? I've been living in the township for 50 years. Most of you probably don't know about the trail, but the bridge, I moved in, and 2 years after I moved in, the bridge got washed out. So I called the state up. The state came down, said it wasn't their problem. They went away. I called the county. They said it wasn't their problem. They went away. So I talked to the township engineer. Now, I don't remember his name. Nice guy. Came and looked at it. Said, and he went away, came back the next day, knocked on my door, and said, I can fix that. He did. He put the new spillway in. My question to him was, can you raise it up a little? He said, no, because it's at the level of the lake. Now, when I moved in, it was a gorgeous lake. You could fish in it, you could canoe in it, but due to the neglect of, well, maybe the town and Deal Lake Commission, it's now a swamp. Well, certainly you guys aren't going to do anything about it, but I would like to have you reopen the bridge up. The bridge is a pathway from the North Wanamassa to South Wanamassa. They all go to the stores, the kids go to across Sunset Avenue. My concern is, wouldn't it have been easier just put up some signs, like maybe warning them, slippery when wet, caution, instead of closing it off? My other concern is the road department. They would stop every single day and check on the bridge. They're not stopping anymore. Since it's been closed off, they have stopped stopping. Now, for 50 years, Don and I basically took care of the trail. Pulled the branches off and whatever. Cleaned out the pipe. So what did Don do today? Went over, cleaned out the drain so it would flow like it's supposed to. I just kind of like to know where the township was to keep the drain clean.
So, Mr. Kirk, I just saw our manager writing the notes down so that he can let Department of Public Works get over there and do what they're supposed to be doing. That's definitely on the list. I can let you know that the bridge, because there were concerns brought forth to the council, that forced that, right. There were several words that came out that the engineer had to go out there and address the situation. When you hear the words such as liability, or a kid's going to slip and fall, hit their head, carriage slides off, it turns into a liability for the municipality. That's why that's closed down right now. So the plan is to fix that. We did discuss this in our work session. It is a priority issue. It's not going to happen overnight. We have other projects in the hopper, but that is definitely in there, and the engineer has to look at the spillway as well.
Okay. My suggestion on the spillway is, since the lake has risen because of the stuff that
I'm gonna stop you there. I'm gonna go off of what the engineer is gonna recommend on that spillway. He's gonna make sure it's done right. If the level of water rose, then he's gonna address it.
Okay,
but, you know, we are looking into it. It's a priority.
Now, my only other question, how long do you think it's gonna take?
I can't give you an answer right now. I'll find out more when I speak to the engineer next week.
Now, do you realize there's probably 30 people a day that used to cross that bridge?
I have no idea how many people use it, but it is a safety issue and it's a liability for the township.
Okay, so it's been a liability for 50 years, right?
Well, the problem is when it's brought forth and it's put on public record, and,
Okay,
and we're well aware of it right now.
Okay, we did it, yeah. Okay.
I didn't blame you. I didn't even blame Don. Don, yes, you're going to release more coyotes for us? Landmines. Yes, sir.
I agree with
Name?
you closing Don Stein, Chestnut Avenue.
Thank you.
I agree you have to close this bridge right now. I know how, I've been a newspaper reporter for 30 years. I know how liability works. People say, don't use the word liability. Don't. This township hates the word liability. And to me, that's kind of laughable. All municipalities face liability issues. All of them. Okay? And the thing is, deal with them. Deal with them to the best of your ability. Now, I disagree with Dickie. My main concern on this bridge is the canopy. Nobody got killed ever by getting their feet wet. But it's a different story if a 200-pound tree limb falls on you. John, did you see the tree that fell in the front of the high school?
Yes.
I mean, God bless, nobody was under that. And I'm just saying the first thing you need to do, and this hasn't been done in 50 years, and the trees have been growing for 50 years, and some of these trees are getting older, and nobody has ever cleaned this canopy up. And that's the first thing. That's the most important thing, is to get in there and get these old dead tree limbs out from above the bridge. Now, they're not all above the bridge. That's why these split rail fences are, you know, because a lot of them are at the entranceway into the bridge. So they're not really blocked off now. Today it was breezy. I was watching out my window. I have a bird's eye view of and the dead branches are swinging back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. To me, this is the major concern. This is the major liability on this bridge right now. God forbid this falls on anybody. So I was watching this, and I went out, and I'm there like, I'm going to go down and look at the spillway. We're coming tonight, let me check it out. So I walk down, and of course you're walking down there, and there's these chunks of tree limbs this long and about this thick around, laying next to on the trail, next to the, you know, asphalt or whatever that leads down there. And it's dangerous. If this hits somebody, it's going to kill them. And then I walked down to the spillway. Nobody ever got killed getting their feet wet, okay? And I walked down to the spillway, and somehow there was a chain link fence on the top, and somehow the chain link fence got down into the flume. And I'm looking, and I'm wondering, why is there water on the footbridge? It hasn't been a rain incident here in a long time. And I look, and this chain link fence is in the flume. It's clogged with leaves and branches, and the water is just kind of dripping around the flume and going in a little bit. And I'm there like, there shouldn't be water here at all right now. And it's not slippery when it's wet. Usually, it takes certain circumstances to make that happen. So I reached in, and I just grabbed the chain link fence, and I pulled it out of the flume, and the water went gushing into the flume. I mean, it just started flooding into the flume. And I'm looking at the lake, and it's not the pond. It's not really a pond anymore. Dickie's right, you know. And you could see the little leaves and stuff all of a sudden starting to move towards the footbridge because the current was going, and it was starting to take the water out of the western section of the lake. Some of these solutions here are so simple and so easy to fix. It's not rocket scientist. The first concern is fix the canopy above it. This is dangerous. This could be deadly, okay? And if you walk down there, you will see pieces that have already fallen. And today I'm watching them fly around in the breeze. And that would be the first thing I would recommend you do. And then after that, let's open it up and get a committee, just like you have this advisory committee for the trail. Get an advisory committee on the footbridge. Neptune does this a lot. They create these advisory, and it's very helpful, very useful, and it does a good job. Get an advisory committee to look at the issues here, because the residents have a lot of good ideas, okay? And a lot of this is not hard to fix at all, you know? I mean, I'm gonna go tomorrow, see if there's water on the bridge, because what? I opened up the flume. It's simple, it's not rocket science. So, but the first priority for me, the most deadly liability, let me say the L word, is those dead branches above the tree. This could kill somebody. And then the second one is the water situation. But that's not gonna kill anybody. You know, if you get your feet wet, you're gonna be okay, all right? So I would take the trees out as soon as possible before school opens, because a lot of kids use this bridge to go back and forth to the Wanamassas school on their bikes or with their parents.
That bridge will not be open by September.
Well, all right.
And I think with all the danger and stuff you're pointing out, you might have tacked on 5 years on this project.
Well, I don't think that's necessary. I mean,
Don, we're gonna address it as soon
Well,
as.
I think you should come down and talk to the residents. Some of them have great ideas. They really do. And, you know, just don't listen to your professionals. Talk to the people that live there. Okay? They have great ideas. They really do. And innovative stuff, some of it. Okay? And I'm just saying that if take care of the canopy, get rid of the most dangerous aspect of this. And then start opening the flume, cleaning it out, limiting the amount of water that flows over the bridge. Like Dickie said, put up a sign that says, bridge may be slippery when wet, you know, and cover yourself that way. Or do not cross footbridge during high water events, something like that, you know, and cover yourself that way. But there's no need to close the bridge down over the water issue. It's not that big of an issue. Believe me, I've taken my kids out there and stood in the water as it comes over the bridge. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Don, once again, I saw our manager taking the notes on that. I'm sure he'll be reaching out to the engineer on Monday morning.
Well, just don't reach out to the engineer. Reach out to the people that live there.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
Anyone else wishing to be heard? Yes, sir. Mr. Laposa.
I like that, Mr. Laposa.
That's it.
That's
Gotta respect my elders.
Thanks. Okay. Wait here. Ken Laposa, 25 Boxwood Drive, Cedar Village. A couple of things. I know one of our people over there, the directors, had spoken to the might have been to you, Mayor, about the lantern flies.
Yes.
And that there's some money available for that. Not a lot, but
Dr. Donlin just spoke. Deputy Mayor Donlin just spoke about that. We received a grant to the tune of $15,000, I believe.
yeah, it's not going to go far.
No.
You know, I mean,
Go ahead, Doc. You want to speak about it?
$50,000. We received a grant from the state of New Jersey to reimburse lantern fly treatments in certain areas of town where it's been a problem, up to $50,000, and it will be reimbursed monthly. If you have an area of concern, please email Tracy, and she can put it on the list. They're currently
Tracy
formulating
Berkowitz.
a list of places that are in dire need of treatment.
thank you, Councilwoman. Also, on Deal Road, where they put up the new shopping center there on Wall, and they have that, they've made a configuration now on the road, but with no turns in certain spots, and they have that island in the center. Do you know if they're going to be putting anything in the island, something a little higher, because it's low enough that people could just really go right over it, or just run over it with their tires and all.
They already are.
They are doing something like that?
No, they already are running it over.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
That was the state DOT that required that.
I understand it's the state, but I mean, there any,
David, did you get any update on that?
No, not to date.
Nothing yet.
I mean, even if they put those things that fold over or something, but. Okay, next deal, next thing is, on Route 66 and Cedar Village Boulevard. I know it's a state road, okay, but someone's definitely gonna get killed there. We've had 2 accidents already. My wife went out, from our village, went to make a right turn, waited for a light for about 2 seconds after it turned red. Somebody goes flying past, almost killed her. Okay,
And we've that's been brought forth to us, and we actually asked the DOT to look into the timing of that light as well.
And it's not only the timing, because I don't care what they do on the timing. People just fly through. They ignore it, in other words, okay? Is there any type of camera in that area? You know?
I'm not sure. We could check with the chief, right? See if there is a camera.
I thought there was something there. Now, because I spoke to Senator Gobel before I came here, and he said, well, he knows that you can't have traffic cameras, but we thought maybe if there's some sort of a speed camera or something like that, to catch plates. Because it doesn't matter how long you have the light. It just doesn't matter. A person's going to go through it, they're going to go through it. Okay? Or if you could take the oldest patrol car you have, park it on the island or something, maybe it'll be a little bit of a deterrent, but it's bad. 2 people, like I said, have already gotten T-boned over there.
Okay, we'll bring it up to the chief again.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Anyone else? Well, I got yelled at for that one.
David Dempsey, 52 Park Boulevard. I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is there an intention of dredging Lollipop Pond?
Yes, that's
Is it
actually
gonna occur?
had the discussion with
Because I know they've
the
been talking about
engineer.
it for decades.
Excuse me?
They've been talking about it for decades. Is there actually money?
Well, yeah, they're working on that right now. That project's definitely in the hopper for
And
dredging.
you think it will happen?
Yeah.
Because what I suggest, if that's not going to happen, they should get rid of that flume because it's just a swamp. It's just a mosquito. You know.
David, what was the time frame on Lollipop Pond for the dredging?
Not sure about the dredging, but I know that we're doing the testing right now and everything. So, depending on the season, so if it doesn't get done, I would think this fall. I would probably look more towards the spring or something.
That soon getting dredged?
Yeah, the engineer is on top of it right now.
The biggest problem.
Pond is not being dredged this fall, but on target possibly for next year. We are dredging 3 other ponds this.
The problem with, and I sat on the DLA commission for 8 years, the problem with the dredging projects it's the spoils because of the amount of arsenic that's
why I figured it would never get done.
That's our hardest part is trying to find a place to leave the spoils. We've worked with the county.
Don's
County's
house.
been trying to work.
Wow.
All right, there we go. Don, if you heard that, we're going to bring some spoils over to you.
That's actually pretty funny.
That was good.
I give you some credit on that.
Anyone else wishing to be heard?
Still funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to call the younger guy Mr. Drucker now. Okay.
Paul Drucker, 20 Oak Avenue. I originally came to talk about the footbridge, but I think we got that covered. You know, I go over it twice a day. It's slippery when there's ice on it, but that's about it. And I'll just leave it at that. But if you need any local input on it, let me know. But since I'm thinking about my walk around that pond, the garbage coming into the pond from the karate mixed pizza place is just out of control, blowing into the lake. Those dumpsters are always overfill, open, and the stuff just constantly flies in there.
Zoning on that one.
Yeah, if there's
I can
something
see our
we can
manager
do,
writing a
yeah.
note now.
Leave it out there.
Yeah, it's I gotta grab her, but I can only pick up some.
I have to say, Paul, the zoning officers have been doing a great job throughout the municipality in looking at these areas that are like that. And the only way we know about it is when you bring it to us because we're not in all quadrants of the town. So, you know, thank you for being cognizant of that.
Yeah, great. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Anyone else wishing to be heard?
Daniel Tabelli, 208 Lockwood Place. I didn't hear the resolution. Did that go through?
Yes.
It did? All right, thanks. I just no.
We're all set.
And then one more question.
Yeah.
On Norwood Avenue, There's like maybe an eighth of a mile, very small stretch of land from Albert Place to Park Terrace, where there's no sidewalk on either side. But every other spot on Norwood Avenue's got a sidewalk from like, I don't know, down from Roselle all the way to Park. So I'm wondering, is that like the residents' job to put a sidewalk, or is that like?
So the question is it Ocean Township or not?
That's
what I'm thinking.
That
Oh, it's
now.
not Ocean Township.
Hold on a second. Give me the streets again.
Norwood Avenue between
Right.
Albert Place and Park Terrace. That's Long Branch?
No. Park Terrace is over the bridge, right?
No, Park Terrace is that street that goes from Park Avenue to Norwood. It's like cuts in the middle. It's like a
Right.
7
Yeah, it's over the bridge. So that
Oh, over the bridge. Yeah.
is that us?
Scan by. So it's
Pretty close to Long Branch.
Yeah.
It might be Long Branch.
Maybe Long Branch. All right. I'll check it
We'll
out.
find out.
I'll email you.
Long Branch.
I'll
There you
email
go.
you. Take it up with you.
All right, so that's Mayor Pallone. If you want to go see him in Long Branch.
And his number, hold on, you want his number?
I'll email you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Take care, Dave.
Anyone else wishing to be heard? Yeah. Mayor, I got one coming to you. Yes.
Me again. I just wanted to, in the earlier meeting tonight, we spoke about speed and about the drivers crossing over the double line on Deal Road. It's very dangerous right now. And with the summer traffic, it's just more enhanced. So I wanted to just warn the people that when they're on Deal Road to be very careful, because there seems to be a pattern this summer of people crossing the double line and crossing in front, which puts them in the oncoming traffic. And when you're heading east, there's a blind spot, so you have to be very careful. I had put these, I don't know how to get them to show people, but I have these bumper stickers, and on my car, often people have asked me, oh, I like that bumper sticker, can I get one for my car? Because it basically tells people to please slow down for kids, bikes, and deer, don't speed, 25 to 35 miles an hour, Ocean Township, New Jersey. Now, I've been trying for some time to get Deal Road between 35 to Whale Pond lowered to 35, because that's where people are coming and going in the parks. And in most towns, when I take long drives, sometimes with my husband upstate New York or to Catskills, whenever there's a park or whenever you come in, you're on kind of fast roads going from town to town in upstate New York. But whenever you come into town, they always slow it down. Like that, whatever main road you're on, it slows down to like 25 miles an hour. In some cases, you're in the village, you're by churches, you're by schools. And Deal Road is one of those roads. I mean, maybe it could be 45 when they get right off of 18, but when you really get down by our park, I've been asking for years now to lower it from 40 to 35, because people at 40 go 50. We have the speed monitor in front of my house, and they're not going 45, they're going 50. And now when I come out of the driveway or I try to get back in my driveway, it's very dangerous. So anyway, I have many of these bumpers. So if anyone would like to have one of these bumper stickers, it does sometimes, when people are on your tail, they do see it and maybe, are reminded that we have, kids, we have bikes, we have deer, and we're a community. They shouldn't speed here, and we're trying to really slow it down. So if anyone is interested in a bumper sticker, my email is jacquewenzel.com, and I'd be happy to drop it off, or you could swing by my house, and for no fee.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else wishing to be heard?
I just want to know who you talk to about what the plans are for that path.
Wait. That's all right.
Dave Dempsey, 52. I'm sorry. I just want to know how do I find out what the plan is for that path?
Once the advisory committee meets, they'll discuss it. I would assume now that it's in place, they'll have a meeting within the next couple of weeks.
And can people come to that meeting? Or?
Dave, it's
It
I don't
should
know
be
if
a
it's
public
gonna
meeting.
lead
It
off.
should be posted on our website.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Seeing here none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Achara?
Yes.
Donlin? Donlin?
Hold on.
Fisher?
Yes.
Napolitani?
Yes. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending.